The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
Hello and welcome to the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your guest host, Sylvia Anglin, filling in for Darren Jaime. And of course, you're watching the one and only interactive talk show, bringing the best of the Bronx and the world right to you. First up, it's an event where college campuses from around the Bronx come together to take a stand against domestic violence. And the Assemblywoman behind it all is here to give us all the details. Plus, in our legal corner, we will touch on the rights regarding condos and co-ops. And the Bronx Chamber of Commerce has several events coming up, including a joint event with the American Red Cross. Two of the men who are helping put it together will give us all the exclusive details. And also, businesswomen from around New York City are being given the chance to showcase their passions on a web series that is on the up and up. And finally, bus stops and websites from around the world are urging young men and around New York City to love their life and keep it 100. Find out what we mean later on in the program. So stay tuned. All this and much more is headed your way because we are now officially open. I'm your host, Sylvia Anglin, and today is Wednesday, October 19th, 2011, and you're watching Open, the one and only live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York straight to your TV set. Feel free to give us a call at 718-960-7241 or send an email to open@bronxnet.org. We also want you to let you know that you can hit us up on Facebook by searching under Open BronxNet Television and Twitter by following our page at BronxNet TV. Now, in its 7th year, Assemblywoman Naomi Rivera's Walk With Me Domestic Violence silent procession continues to raise awareness and encourage the youth to become more engaged in the fight against domestic violence. What makes this event unique is that it takes place on campuses throughout New York at the same time on the same day. And we have the pleasure of having Assemblywoman Rivera with us now to talk about the Walk With Me. Welcome to the set, Assemblywoman.
Thank you, Sylvia. First, let me thank you and BronxNet for allowing me to participate in this important discussion and always being welcoming to the issue.
I know you have you like to herald causes that affect children and especially the youth in New York City. Can you tell me why did you decide to have a domestic violence walk that targets the youth versus, everyone in general?
Well, we have seen throughout the years an increase in the numbers of youth that are experiencing abuse in their intimate relationships. And we know that, they're our greatest resource. Our youth, they engage in conversations, they have experiences similar to adults, especially in college, but they don't necessarily know how or where they can go to address issues like domestic violence. And this is an issue that is prevalent. This is an issue that we have a responsibility in educating our youth, and they truly have a voice to help lend support in ending a cycle of violence that needs to stop.
Can you tell me, let's take a step back. 7 years ago, you started this walk. Can you tell me what was the thing that pushed you to create this walk and have this walk around New York City?
The genesis, and it's not New York City, it's the state of New York. And I'm very proud to say that we have over 30 schools participating throughout the state of New York. In the Bronx, Lehman College is participating. And now this is not just a day that we're walking, it is a week long of different initiatives taking place in different schools that culminates with the walk. It started 7 years ago as an extension of the work that I was doing at the Borough President's Office. I was involved with Diva Spa, the creation of Diva Spa, Diva Talk, and I knew that I wanted to walk to follow in that effort. And so when I became a legislator, it was a great opportunity to bring this issue and these efforts statewide. And so 7 years ago, I went to our local campuses. I started off at Mercy College. That's where we began the walk. And I said, you know, we need to engage our youth in this effort. Looking at the numbers, I mean, this year alone, 11% of teenagers have reported that they have been slapped, hit, victims of abuse in their intimate relationships. 44% of homicides to women happen because of domestic violence. It is an issue that is attacking women. It is attacking our youth. I'm proud to say, and I'd like to add, it is not the only initiative, but it's an important one. One of the laws that we passed in Albany, the expansion of family court access, as a result of this piece of legislation, critical piece of legislation that was passed, 22% of teenagers have filed for orders of protection. In the past, only if you were married, had a child, lived with someone, or were blood related could you file for an order of protection if you were being abused or felt that your life was at risk. Now we know that we've opened up the doors for other victims like the LGBT community and teenagers, where again, as I mentioned, there's been a growing number of reports. And I believe that number is growing not so much because we're seeing more abuse, but because our youth know that they can speak out, they have a voice, and they have some place to go.
We have a National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I know you're focusing on college campuses in general. What about those teens or those people who are in high school? Can high schoolers participate in this?
Thank you, because I would have been remiss to mention that working with Planned Parenthood, annually we have teenagers, and we have to we make special requests to the schools, to the different high schools, to ask that they be excused to participate in this important walk. And yes, we have high schoolers that do participate. In fact, with the exception of last year, in the past, we've had high schools that have performed a skit before we kick off the walk. And they demonstrate in that skit how youth are engaged in abuse as well, you know, how their partners can be controlling and how they seek help. It is a dialogue that is engaging all of our youngsters and teenagers in high school as well as our teenagers in college.
So as far as people finding out more information on this event or any events that are in conjunction with this event, where can they go to find out more information?
Well, they should call my office. That number is 718-409-0109. And we will share a host of events that we make sure that our community is attached to, so that they can help us engage in different issues and different efforts to do outreach necessary to lend support.
If someone's sitting at home and they're a little nervous about attending the walk or even coming out to the day event or the week-long event, what should they do? Where should they go? And what resources should they take advantage of?
There's so many resources out there, but if there is someone out there watching and they're concerned about calling a provider, they can call my office and say, you know, just let us know that they need support, and we will work with them so that they can get whatever support they need so that they can get out of an abusive relationship. It is about saving lives. It is about changing this terrible behavioral problem, and letting folks know that they have a right to be safe, that they're not alone, and they should speak out.
Since this is a statewide initiative, I know before I said I was Bronx-centric, but it's a statewide initiative. Right. Is there information on your website that someone who's maybe outside of Bronx County can log on and find out, like, this resource in my neighborhood is helping me, or there's this resource in Buffalo? Is that information available?
We do have information available on my website, so I also encourage viewers to go onto the website. We have lots of information that can be very helpful, not only in the area of domestic violence, but other areas. So please log on to the website, call the office. We're here to provide whatever assistance we can.
Thank you. And can you tell us when is the event? When's the kickoff to the event?
Of course, that's
most
right.
Importantly.
It is on the 25th on Tuesday. The program begins at 1 o'clock, Mercy College, and the walk kicks off at 1:30. So we invite everyone to participate and join us.
And the color for domestic violence awareness is purple.
That's correct.
Should we all attend in purple?
Absolutely. And you know, the marches will not all be in purple, because what you will see with these students, you will see some that will intentionally try to lend a face to how vicious this abuse can be. So they will have theatrical makeup showing black eyes. They'll have their hands in slings. You'll see somebody with a pillow showing that, you know, pregnant women too are subject to abuse. And then you'll see some in suits saying that, you know, you may not see the scars on the outside, walking with signs to say you may not see the scars on the outside, but I too am a victim of domestic violence, because it is it is not biased. It is across all races, religions, and you know, socioeconomic communities.
That's amazing, showcasing the different faces of domestic violence, and thank you for all your work that you do towards the cause.
Thank you.
Up next, it's the Legal Corner with David Lesh.
Socioeconomic communities.
Along with weight loss, it's one of the many ways to fight osteoarthritis pain. For more information on managing pain, go to fightarthritispain.org.
Be free. Nice, Dad. Nice, Dad. Nice, Dad.
Charles!
Nice, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
We can all be energy savers. It's easy. Turn off lights. Use energy-saving light bulbs. And turn off electronics and appliances when not in use. Make a change and we can really fly. Learn more at energy.gov/kids. The magical thing about using energy wisely is that anyone can do it. Turn off lights. Use energy-saving light bulbs. And turn off computers and game systems when not in use. Make a change and we can really fly. Grab a grown-up and go online to energy.gov/kids.
Hello there, we're back here on Open. In today's Legal Corner, we're going to take a break from the Constitutional Law series and focus on co-ops and condos. What are some of the basic laws for those who own co-ops or condos that they must be made aware of? Here to answer this and explain in further detail is attorney and legal correspondent David Lesh. David, welcome.
Sylvia, nice to see you again. The reason we're taking a break from the Constitutional Law series is we had a great show last night on Today's Verdict. I had a terrific guest, Stephen Slackus, a partner at one of the law firms in Manhattan who specializes in all types of real estate, and the subject was co-ops and condos, and I thought it was a good time to recap a little bit about what went on last night because it's such an interesting issue. Many people are purchasing co-ops and condos even in a tight market like we have now, and I thought it would be nice to let the viewers know exactly what the differences are between them. Okay, so let's talk about what they are. Condominium units are, you could basically picture many different homes built on top of each other, because you're still getting what's called a deed. The way you would be purchasing a house, you would be getting a deed back. Cooperatives are looked at a different way. When you're talking about a cooperative building, what you're really doing is you're looking at a corporation. So when you look at a building, and it's a co-op building, picture a corporation, and that's what the building is. And what the corporation does is they issue shares to all the individual people who own apartments. With the shares come what's called a proprietary lease. Right? So you don't technically own the apartment. You own shares in the corporation, a certain amount of shares. And the proprietary lease will govern what your rights and obligations are with respect to the particular unit.
Okay.
Condominium is different. When you have a condominium, you actually get a deed. You own the property itself. Now, you may have certain obligations with respect to the hallways outside and to the maintenance outside of the building, but generally you own the unit and you have much more control over what you can do. Let me give you some examples. With a co-op, if you want to sell your apartment, well, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you own a co-op or if you understand the way it works.
I actually do own a co-op.
So you understand that there are some limitations that you have in terms of selling the apartment or leasing the apartment. Am I correct? All right. You do not have these limitations with a condominium unit. Why is that? Well, if you want to sell the condominium unit to somebody else, the board of managers, those are the people who actually manage, and you elect them in a condominium, have the right to purchase it from you if they don't want you selling it to the people you chose to sell it to.
Okay.
With a co-op, it's different. With a co-op, if you find a buyer for the price that you want, and the co-op board of directors, as opposed to board of managers, decides that they don't want these people who you're trying to sell to in the building, they can prevent you from selling it. And they do not have to buy it themselves the way a co-op, a condo would have. So you have much less power over the sale. Same thing with leasing. Let's say you want to lease your co-op because you're going to be leaving for a little while out of the country or something else. With a co-op, you need permission. You need permission from the board of directors, which I don't know if you know this, it's very difficult to get, especially more than 1 year. And not many people want to rent a co-op if they can't stay there for more than a year. So it's very difficult to rent. In a condo, you have the right to rent. Many times, if the board of managers refuses you that right, they will say, well, okay, we will rent it from you ourselves. The building itself will rent it from you, so at least it gives you the chance to get rid of it for a year or two in terms of for that time. So, well, you say, well, then why would I want a co-op at all? Then why don't I always get a condo? I'll tell you why. Well, with a cooperative, there are some advantages. First of all, it's much more of a landlord-tenant relationship, which means if there's something wrong with the unit, you can call up the board of directors and they will make sure that the superintendent, whoever it is, comes in and fixes many things that go on within the unit. Where in the condo, you're on your own. If something goes wrong inside, generally it's up to you to fix everything that's inside. So it's a different relationship there. Secondly, with a cooperative, you can control who your neighbors are. You can make sure that if you don't want somebody moving in across from the hallway or something, you'll find out exactly who the neighbors are going to be beforehand, and that can be important to people who move into a building. They want to make sure they're living with the people who they're comfortable living with, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's why people buy cooperatives. But generally, the co-ops are less expensive than the condos for that reason, in that it's much harder to flip it and to move it, and that's something that people should take into consideration when they end up purchasing a co-op as opposed to a condominium. Now, the question that I posed to the attorney last night was, well, when should we get an attorney involved? At what point? When you're looking for a co-op or a condo, or when you actually find one? Well, the answer is when you find what you like, the real estate broker or somebody shows it to you, or you find it on your own. That's when you call up your attorney and you say, for instance, I found a co-op that I love. The attorney would say, okay, who are the sellers? Let me find out who they are. Let me contact them, and then the sellers will create the contract and send it to the buyer's attorney, who will then review it. So far, so good?
Yeah, I have a question
Sure.
though. With the whole process, with an attorney reviewing the contract, are there specific rules for co-ops that are like in sort of unified across the board, or Can they vary from co-op to co-op?
Well, generally, once you decide that you want to purchase this co-op and the contract comes to your attorney, the first thing the attorney is supposed to do is go to the office of the building manager for the co-op and read the minutes. Now, what does that mean, minutes? Well, co-ops have board meetings, all right? Every month, 2 months, there's a board meeting. And at the board meeting is a secretary. And the secretary who's elected takes down notes of exactly what goes on during the hour or 2 hour meeting. Okay. And those minutes are put into a book. So if you're going to buy a co-op, the first thing you should do is you go to the office and you read the minutes. Find out what's been going on in the building for the last year. What shareholders have been making trouble. Are there problems with the elevators? Is there money that's going to have to be spent to renovate and do the outside of the building or the boiler or something else? Well, why is this important? Because if you come in as a shareholder and you didn't realize that there's money that has to be raised by all the shareholders, you're going to be one of the people that's going to be asked to have money come in, and you're going to be what's called assessed, right? Have you ever been assessed?
No.
It's no fun when you get assessed with a $5,000 or $10,000 bill for, to do all this work on the building, and you just moved in there 6 months ago. Well, the minutes would have been telling you that, the building's falling apart. And there's no what's called reserve fund. What's a reserve fund? Just like it sounds. Just monies in a bank account for a rainy day when you have a problem. And many buildings do not have a large reserve fund. So the attorney should be doing his or her due diligence and calling the client and saying, listen, I don't think you should buy this particular unit. Their reserve fund is very low, and they have to do the elevators in about 6 months to a year, and it's going to cost $250,000.
I actually know someone who moved into a building that required a new elevator, and they were very upset when the bill was submitted, and everyone's responsible portion for
right, because you think
elevator.
They were assessed. That's what was happening. Now you think it's just your maintenance, but your maintenance is not going to cover a $250,000 to $300,000 renovation of the elevators. They're going to have to raise money. Some place is going to have to pay for it. The shareholders are going to have to pay for it. So it's the attorney's duty to do what's called their due diligence under the law, to review the minutes and to look at the financials of the building.
Okay.
And this is very, very important, and which is a very good reason why if you have a co-op, you want to make sure that the board of directors, when they're having other people come into the building, have the proper financials. Sometimes you hear words like double assets or triple assets. That means that they have enough in the bank that if they lose their job, that they're going to have enough money to pay the maintenance for a certain amount of years. Do you understand why that's important? Because if they don't pay their maintenance, everybody else has to kick in for the shares. Now, I know people who own co-ops down in Florida, and the buildings are completely underwater, figuratively. And what ends up happening is all the other shareholders have to make up for the defaulting shareholders.
Wow.
So you could have 10 or 20 shareholders who've defaulted. The other 50 or 60 have to pay their maintenance now to keep the building running.
So if we had to sum this up, if we had to sum this series or this segment up with one sort of comment that people can walk away with,
okay,
what
it's called
would it be?
Due diligence. Do your due diligence, review the minutes, review the financials of the building, whether
Okay.
it's a condo or a co-op, and find out what you're getting yourself into. It's an investment. So it's not just whether you can pay the maintenance, have everyone else been able to pay it, and what your costs are going to be in the future.
Pretty much, it's due diligence. Stay right where you are. There's much more right after this.
For you. Hey, Mom.
Girls, I used to cheer back in my day. Ready? Okay! Go team!
That was amazing. Mom, that was amazing.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Hands can do incredible things. Now they can even help save a life with hands-only CPR. If you see an adult suddenly collapse, just call 911, then push hard and fast in the center of the chest until help arrives. Learn more at handsonlycpr.org.
Did you know that getting up and getting active for just 60 minutes a day is all it takes to help you get stronger, look better, and feel great?
Or that fresh fruits and veggies aren't just healthier and crunchier, they can taste better too?
Eating better and getting more active is easier than you think.
Yeah! Keep watching for some fun and easy ways to discover the magic of healthy living in your life.
America.
Let's get healthy together!
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education.
Right up here.
So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour
Lights there, darks there.
to show them that higher education means a brighter future. My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Find out how you can live united for education. Give, advocate, volunteer. Go to liveunited.org.
Do you wear this?
Every year, mothers lose their babies to gun crimes. You'll always be your mother's baby. So before you commit a gun crime, think about who you'll leave behind. Gun crimes hit home.
Hello, viewers. Remember, this is a live and interactive show, so join in on the conversation by calling 718-960-7241 or send us an email at open@bronxnet.org. The Bronx Chamber of Commerce has always been the voice for small business owners, and the American Red Cross is here when disaster strikes. But these two organizations are coming together for a blood drive at Mercy College, taking place on Tuesday, November 1st. The manager of business development and community outreach with the American Red Cross, Frank Cassano, and the president of the Bronx Chamber of Commerce are here to tell us more about this event. Welcome to the set.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Can you tell me, what does blood donations mean to the community of the Bronx and New York City at large?
Well, the demand for blood in the New York metropolitan area is huge, and it always exceeds the supply. So we're always running a day late and a dollar short. So what the American Red Cross is trying to do is provide additional blood drives to the great blood drives that are already taking place all around the New York metropolitan area. We're trying to create more opportunities for more Americans to give blood. You can't give blood unless a blood drive is there for you to give blood at. So we're partnering with anybody and everybody that wants to help us to create these opportunities for Americans to donate blood. My good friend Lenny and I go way back. We had a conversation and he stepped right up and he said, yeah, let's do it. Let's let the chamber do its part for the citizens of the New York area.
So this event is being held at Mercy College.
At Mercy College.
From what time to what time can people stop by to donate blood?
From 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. We timed it that later in the day to give the business community an opportunity to go to business, run their businesses that day, and then maybe scoot over to the college. You know, we'll be there up until 7 o'clock and donate a pint of blood. The entire process would take no more than 40 or 45 minutes from the time you walk in the door until the time I give you juice and cookies.
Okay, so if, say for example, I wanted to donate blood on that day, what should I do in preparation for donating blood?
Well, first, we would appreciate it if you called the chamber and spoke to Michelle Cristofaro. Lenny will give you that number. Michelle is taking reservations because we like to know who's coming and when's coming, because if you do have a reservation, you go through the process much more quickly, although walk-ins are welcome. And on that particular day, eat a good breakfast, you know, do your normal routine, hydrate yourself, don't starve yourself and come in, because that's when you might experience a little problem after you donate blood. Eat a good lunch before you come, and then we'll take care of you the rest of the way.
So it's 1 pint of blood per person, or how much blood is taken?
1 pint of blood, unless an individual chooses to give double reds. Double reds is where we take 2 pints of blood, we extract the red blood cells, and then reinfuse everything back into you again. You then get the credit of helping 6 people. When you donate a pint of blood, you help 3 of your neighbors who need blood or blood products. If you give double reds that day, you help 6 people who might need blood or blood products.
That's very important. Lenny, can you tell me why the Chamber of Commerce decided to team up with the American Red Cross on this initiative?
I think just visiting Irene's recent storm of a lot of people that were devastated from that, we need to be supportive to the people of the Bronx, and that's what I represent. And the Red Cross has been there for many, many other causes. And you see them when there are fires there. You see them when there are many disasters. This is a way to give back to the Red Cross so they can continue to do the work that they do in our community. So being a partner of this was like, took a 2 seconds to say yes to it. And reaching out to our business community to come and be supported of this, I think is a good cause. We need to support our community and our people here in the Bronx.
Frank mentioned that if someone's interested in pre-registering or having sort of that express ticket to donate blood, they should call your office. Can you give us that number?
Sure, 718-828-3900.
And they just need to give their name and what time they're coming.
Correct. That'll give them a little expedition so that they can go right through.
So I know the Bronx Chamber of Commerce engages in a lot of events, community events, business events. What's next for the Bronx Chamber of Commerce?
Well, we've been very fortunate. On this Monday, the 24th, we'll host the first of its kind Federal Reserve Bank president coming in from Washington to speak to our business community. That hasn't been done for over 30 or 40 years. So we're very proud to bring that to the Bronx so business people can hear what the feds are actually doing with the money that they're working with. So that's a positive aspect. That week is also Domestic Violence Week, where we host a major event with Christine Quinn, the Justice Center, the Mayor's Office, and our complex and our corporate headquarters is all purple as of today to awareness of the domestic violence. We're the only building right now that's lit up purple, so keep people aware of what's happening in the domestic violence. It's so important that we don't forget that. You know, a lot of people, every year you look at it in October, we need to constantly remind people because the numbers are going up. They're not coming down. And if we can help companies be aware of when an employee comes in and they're a little distraught because it could be some domestic violence at home, there are people that can help them. So one of the domestic violence programs we took on because we felt that corporate America could be a part of helping that come down.
I think it's very important. We had Assemblywoman Naomi Rivera earlier here today discussing domestic violence, and it's important the help that the Bronx Chamber of Commerce is doing for domestic violence. If people go to your website, can they find out more information? Are there businesses or resources for Bronxites through the Chamber for information on your events?
I mean, there are a couple of things. Actually, on the 28th, it's F&J Pine Restaurant. There'll be a forum there of major companies that can help you learn how you can detect the domestic violence, which is what we want to be able to do. This is all free to small businesses and any business. We can come in with a team from, say, Verizon that'll come in and educate you of what to look for. And to us, just bringing that out to the public, it helps tremendously to bring this disastrous violence down.
So we discussed the American Red Cross, the Federal Reserve coming to the Bronx, and domestic violence. Are there any more events that are going on?
Yeah, it's something I'm glad you brought up. We don't forget our veterans, and our veteran salute will be done on November 3rd. And we bring back our soldiers. We do a salute to wounded warriors, some of our Bronx soldiers. And we do this every year to thank them for fighting for our country and supporting them, to let them know that the Bronx businesses, the Bronx Chamber doesn't forget that you go there and you represent us and you fight for us. So, you know, we do a number of things as well as workshops to give back to people. We're doing a nice network event at the Empire City racetrack. And what we've done is we joined forces with the New Rochelle Chamber, Mount Vernon Chamber, Yonkers Chamber, and the Bronx Chamber. And the purpose of that is so that they can shake hands and do business across borders. We have to expand our horizon so people can grow their business. And that's what we try to bring to the table.
That's very interesting, the four chambers working together. How's that working out?
Great. Actually, they're very excited about it. We've done this in the past, and we had about 300 people at the last one. I think it's going to exceed that. The venue, the racetrack, we don't have one in the Bronx. They're a member of the chamber. They're going to host, and actually each race is named after each chamber. First one is the Bronx, then Mount Vernon and Yonkers, and then New Rochelle. So that's a nice tribute to let them know that chambers are important to everywhere we are. No matter where you are, a chamber keeps the viability of small business.
So if people at home want to find out about the American Red Cross Donate Blood Initiative or one of the other initiatives that were discussed, where can they log on to?
BronxChamber.org.
And they can find all this information there.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Lenny.
Thank you for having us.
Right after the break, learn about the brand new web series showcasing the new breed of female entrepreneurs.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
I'm lucky. Let me help you with that. I get to do something I love. It has nothing to do with touchdowns or titles. Everybody bring it in. I get to play a part in the life of someone just starting out. How many of you think homework is just as important as teamwork? I help keep kids in school. Good. And that's the name of the game. My name is LaDainian Thomason. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United.
These things we count on every day started as ideas. Ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support minority education today so we don't miss out on the next big idea tomorrow. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Hi, I'm Sean Johnson of the 2008 U.S. Gymnastics team. I'm here with our friends from Veggie Tales to say, be a player, get up and play an hour a day.
Besides gymnastics, how do you stay in great shape, Sean?
I love to dance and rollerblade.
Cool.
You don't have to be an Olympian to be a player. Just do the things you already love to do, like jump rope, ride a bike, or even play freeze tag.
Now that's something to flip for.
Well done! For fun ways to get healthy, visit www.smallstep.gov.
Up and Up is an internet web-based series centered around young, self-motivated New York City women who all share a passion for creating a better world through their unique ventures. It follows 4 young professionals as they take their movements to new heights. Creator Kristen Dolly is hoping to use this platform to promote female entrepreneurs who would have not have gotten the chance to do so otherwise. We welcome Kristen to the show. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So I was just discussing Up and Up. Can you tell me what is it and how'd you come up with the name?
Yeah, well, you did a really good job talking about it, so I'll just reiterate what you said. And basically, it is a web series, an internet-based web series about a new phenomenon going on in New York City. It's a real phenomenon. It's happening right now. And women, especially young women, are stepping outside of the status quo and they are creating a brand new world. So they're starting businesses, they're leading movements, and it's all about, really creating change. It's something that we need so desperately right now. We really need a new generation of leadership, and that's what these women are just beginning to do. The way that we got the name, it took a really long time. It was like a year in the making, trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to call this movement? What is it? And I was sitting in the train station, and I honestly was thinking about Jennifer Lopez's album On the Six. I don't know why. And so we just started talking about On the Up and Up, and then it clicked. We realized Up and Up would be a great, actionable thing that people could say, and it just seemed to be perfect. It totally represented everything that's going on. So now it's been fully embraced by a large group of women, and we're on the up and up. Yeah.
I had an opportunity to take a look at your video, and I noticed you have this dynamic group of women. You have a eco-friendly party planning company. Then you have Hollaback, which is interesting because it's most women who live in New York have had the opportunity of having someone shout out something inappropriate to them that was unwarranted. And then there's your company, Pink Brick, which is Pink Brick House, which is a media company. Can you tell me about your company?
Yeah. So a few years ago, I had this idea to make a media company that actually empowered smart women. So if you are a young smart woman out there, you are either invisible, or the only thing that's really important about you in terms of media and pop culture is your beauty and your youth. There's absolutely, no mention or even thought to your intelligence or your leadership potential. And personally, to me, I just found it to be really boring. And the good thing about, being young in today's age is that you don't have to compromise. You can actually start creating, whatever you want to make. And so I just started asking, why were there no movies that I wanted to watch? Why was there no TV that I wanted to watch? And the answer became really clear when you look at who is owning media. It's like all of these old white men cronies that have been owning everything for the last 60 years. It's got to change. So it's a new generation here, it's a new dawn, and we're going to do something about it. So my company specifically creates different kinds of media. So movies, websites, web series, advertising, and Up is our first project coming out of this specific company.
So I know you guys have been in the process of shooting the web series. How many episodes have been created and available for the public to take a look at?
So right now we just have clips, and we've been shooting. One of the biggest things that we've been struggling with is actually funding, because even though we have a lot of great deals with all of the equipment that we're using, it is pretty expensive to shoot this web series. So really my main goal and the main thing that I've been doing for the past, I would say 2 months and probably another month, is really trying to raise this money that will allow us to shoot consistently for the next few months so that we can cut as many episodes as we can. So we started shooting over the summer, and we have different clips that are available, but in terms of actual episodes, none of that will be released until spring of 2012, because it is a progression and we want to tell a real story. This is a story about New York. For the first time, it's going to be told through the eyes of women and through the stories of women, young women. And we want to make sure that we do that right. And we want to make sure that there's a buzz and a build up to it when we finally do launch it. So stay tuned for this summer, because we're pulling all the stops out. We're going to do this. It's going to be awesome.
I know a lot of people enjoy reality TV, but I think this web series has a special twist because they're New Yorkers. They're people that look like you and I.
It's totally real.
They're going through the same struggles, especially as young entrepreneurs. You'll definitely, I think it'll give people an opportunity to see that, the Ariana Huffingtons of the world, the struggles that they went through. And I noticed that on your website you mentioned like the future icons. It's important to understand that the next generation is coming up and we have a diverse, dynamic face, and to showcase that. So if people want to see Up and Up or just check out what you're doing, where should they go to?
They should go to upandupnewyork.com.
Okay.
And that's the site page. And right now that has all of the clips up, the concept, and we're going to be uploading a blog onto there soon where you can really see the full breadth of the community, because you're right. These 4 women do definitely have the potential to be icons and really represent, this huge generation that's coming up. But it's not just them. They're leaders of the leaders. And the amazing thing about our generation is that everyone is just so smart and so dynamic. And that's something that I'm so excited to have people see how big it truly is. And that's what the blog will do, and hopefully what the show will do, the more we're able to shoot. So the website is a great place to start, upandupnewyork.com. And then also on Twitter, you can follow us at upandupny. And then also on Facebook, it's facebook.com/upandupny.
How did you choose how did these 4 women make the cut?
Oh my God, yeah. So I started casting, I guess about a year ago, and it took a long time. It was basically 4 months of me stalking people. I swear to God, Twitter was like my best friend. I was emailing people all the time, people I didn't know. If I thought you looked cool, in the train, I'd be like, hey, what's up? I'm Kristen. People are like, girl, get away from me. I'm like, no, we're best friends right now. So actually, after a long process, I just ended up finding people that I just thought, had this charisma to them. and that were relevant, you know, that told stories that everybody could relate to, whether you're an entrepreneur, a student, a mother. I mean, these are like human stories of triumph and creativity. And so I actually want to bring more people onto the cast. This is just the beginning. And I just thought, you know, it just kind of fell into place, these people. I interviewed a lot of people, and these were the girls that, you know, whether they were walking into a room, you know, as soon as the camera was on, it was just go time, you know. Emily and Jessica are so funny. They're so smart. They're so funny. Emily May, who is the executive director of Hollaback, is like the leadership story. And then there's me, who's like this crazy renegade that's trying to start a revolution, you know. It's going to be a good show.
It's a great, it definitely looks like a great dynamic of future female entrepreneurs, future icons, future captains of industry.
Yeah.
So we look to find out more from this web series.
Yeah,
and it's at upandup.com.
Upandupnewyork.com. Yes.
So
Target owns Up and Up. Upandupnewyork.com.
Got it. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best, and we look forward to taking a look at the series sometime soon.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a new HIV/AIDS campaign going high tech to get their word out. Get more details after this.
I remember how much you said you liked wine.
Oh.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
Mom, I'm not gonna go to college.
What are you saying? You've got to go to college.
Well, they offered me a job, and...
Son, college is much more important.
No.
Yes.
No, Mom.
Yes.
Anyways, it's my decision.
Okay, well then decide what degree you're going to get, because you will go to college.
Their tomorrow depends on your words today. The Hispanic Scholarship Fund has the information you need to help your kids go to college.
When it's time for lunch, a sandwich is a quick and easy choice. And with the right ingredients, it can be good and good for you. So I'm here today to see who can build the ultimate sandwich. All right, when the time is up, our judges will give you their scores. Ready, set, go! Okay, Jason starts out with a multi-grain roll. Ooh, Allison stuffing her pita with, yes, spinach, a great source of iron. Jason isn't skipping on the protein, adding plenty of smoked turkey, just like Allison's putting the finishing touches with crispy red bell peppers for a dose of vitamin A. Time! It looks like we have a tie. We'll need to call in our special guest referee.
Now these are what I call quick, delicious lunches. Whole grain breads, a whole variety of ingredients. There are so many different ways to build delicious, healthy sandwiches. These two get high marks in every category. I'd say you're both winners. America.
Let's get healthy together.
Big dreams and good grades aren't enough to get into college. There are actual steps you need to take. Finding someone who can help is the first and most important. For the next steps, go to knowhowtogo.org.
If you're walking by a bus stop in the Harlem or Bronx area, you just might notice flyers with a message to keep it 100. This new campaign, sponsored by Iris House, the nation's first community-based organization that meets the needs of women and families infected and affected by HIV and AIDS. The campaign, which is pretty much targeting 18 to 24-year-old heterosexual men, has a mission of raising awareness, encouraging attitudes of responsibility, honesty, and openness. Here to tell us more is Executive Director of Iris House, Ingrid Floyd, and the designer of the campaign, Dwayne Kramer. Welcome.
Thank you.
First off, can you tell me, what is Iris House?
Yes. Iris House is an agency that was started 18 years ago for and about women who were living with HIV during a time when there weren't services available for minority women. Since that time, we've expanded our services to not just serve the women, but to also serve the men in their lives, the men in the community, as well as their families. So we have 3 locations, 2 in Harlem, 1 in East Harlem, 1 in Central Harlem, and we recently opened a new location in the South Bronx.
Okay, so is that why the campaign, your Keep It 100 campaign, is pretty much targeting the South Bronx and the Harlem area?
Definitely. That's been our primary area. And also as well, for minorities living in New York City, those are the areas with the highest rates of HIV infection.
Okay, so Iris House put together this initiative. What made you guys decide on this innovative marketing campaign?
So Love Your Life, Keep It 100 came about as a result of understanding what were some of the trends with women that we were serving. So for most years of the epidemic that women have become HIV infected, they were infected through heterosexual contact. And that's still the primary mode of transmission for women. And so we figured we are always putting the responsibility on women to be the responsible ones. How do we now educate the men to make sure that they understand the responsibility they have to take? How do they have to keep it 100, use condoms, access testing, and then access prevention education around HIV?
Can you tell me how long did it take to create the campaign?
We've been working on the program called Listen Up, which is kind of the background of the campaign for about a year now, and started working with Dwayne and his team, I guess about 3 months ago, to come up with kind of concepts and what we wanted to do and how we wanted to focus the campaign.
Dwayne, I saw the campaign, I saw all the flyers, the bus stops, the bus shelters. Can you tell me, it's bright, it's bold, it's innovative. How'd you come up with the design and the concept?
Well, I think that Iris House did a fantastic job of really doing a community needs assessment over the past year and engaging different community stakeholders, coming up with a really great group of people that included 6 individuals that are from the target population. Okay. And from that group, we really talked to them about what they wanted to see, what would attract them, what would interest them, what would make them take action. And what we found was that positive messages of talking about loving your life, about keeping it 100. Keeping it 100 is something that young people say, and it basically means keep it honest, keep it real, use a condom every time. So we wanted to come up with something that was high tech, that was something that was easy for them to access, because typically this target population of young, Black, 18 to 24-year-olds, they're hard to reach through traditional media. So we integrated the QR code, which is the scanning icon that they can take their smartphone, scan it, and immediately go to a site where they can find out where they can get free condoms and where they can get HIV tests. So we really developed this campaign based on what would work for them.
I notice you guys use the QR code. A lot of time, all of us have smartphones. That's something, whether you have an iPhone, BlackBerry, you can scan it and it gives you that immediate contact, that stickiness that takes you to the website or gets you the resources that you need. What I know a lot of magazines, people open the magazines, they're using QR codes. Why'd you decide to use it for this campaign? It's innovative and it's smart.
Yeah. Well, we used it because this is what the young people are using. They said we want something that's easy. We want something that we can just, instead of typing in a web address, we can scan it with our phone, and when they scan it, they can immediately talk to their friends, they can show their friends and find out about the different incentives and the program to really talk amongst their social networks. And again, we've included Twitter links and Facebook links, so we're using all of the social media that they're using today.
So I noticed with this campaign, which is different from a lot of campaigns of this nature, you're targeting 18 to 24-year-old heterosexual males. And tying that back into Iris House, it kind of makes sense. How did you come up? I know this is a demographic or a population that it makes sense with Iris House, but how did you finally put your finger on it that this is who we need to target? These are the men, and this is the specific population, segment of the population that we must target?
One of the things we did 3 years ago, we completed a strategic plan for Iris House, and we started asking the question, where are young men going to get prevention education? And we looked at organizations in all 5 boroughs and couldn't find one that was focused on heterosexual young men. And what we also found was that resources are not available to them. Campaigns normally aren't targeting them, but yet this is the population that has the highest rates of new infections. As well, this is a population that thinks that they're invincible. So they don't come and find and seek the services. So we had to figure out a way to go find them. And so the great part about this campaign is it's in the streets and it's not in our facility. So it goes to them where they are. When you're hanging out at the bus shelter, we have outreach workers that are handing out palm cards each day. We also have posters in barbershops. So we're working with a lot of community businesses, getting them on board to say, how do we get the people who are coming in here every day, they're sitting around talking, how do we get them engaged in HIV education, in knowledge, and in just taking responsibility?
I noticed that you guys are in barbershops, beauty salons,
Yes.
community churches, various different sort of untraditional places, but that's where the 18 to 24-year-olds
Yes.
are. So what's next with this campaign?
That's a great question. We've been talking about this in so many different atmospheres and environments. We're really hoping to be able to launch another phase of the campaign, one that targets Latino men. 18 to 24-year-olds, because again, that's another population that we know and we understand. They don't have resources available to them and they don't have targeted campaigns and messages for them. So our hope is to relaunch the campaign using our Latino brothers as a part and a feature of it. We also want to expand it to other communities and to other boroughs. So keeping the Love Your Life, Keep It 100 as kind of our standard, but expanding it into other boroughs like Brooklyn and to Queens and Staten Island. So we're really at this point looking for sponsors for the campaign, looking for additional funding so that we can expand it beyond Harlem and the South Bronx.
So someone at home, obviously if they don't have access to the QR code, and but they want to find out more information on the campaign, or they want to talk to your organization or find out where can I find a bus shelter or a flyer or a program, where can they log on to?
The key place with all the information you need is www.keepit100nyc.org. That website will link you to the Iris House website. It will link you to access where you can access free condoms. It'll also link you to any additional information you need on our Listen Up program. So if there are young men, particularly those who are 18 to 24, we have an intervention program that we're doing for them. They get incentives for coming in and participating. So we really want these young men to step up and become leaders. So if anyone who's interested in more information on Keep It 100 NYC can visit the website. As well, you can follow us on Twitter, just at Keep It 100 NYC, or on our Facebook page.
Perfect. And Dwayne, I have to congratulate you on what you guys call this Artivision that is pretty much mobilizing an overlooked segment of the population to educate themselves and to find out what they need to do to get their resources. So thank you, Iris, and thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure coming into your homes. We'd like to thank our guests for joining us, and especially you, our viewers, for tuning in. You can tune in tonight for the recable cast of Open at 10 p.m. on Channel 67, and of course you can catch a new episode on Friday at 10 a.m. with Rena Valentine. I would like to thank all our guests and our viewers. Take care, Bronx.
Hey, how's it going?
Sir, are you okay?
What? Oh, this? It's probably nothing. I'm sure it'll go away.
Go away? But, sir, that can't be good.
No, it's cool, really.
Do you want a napkin or something?
Everything's fine. Thanks.
You wouldn't ignore this, so why ignore the signs of a stroke? At the first warning signs, call 911 immediately, because time lost is brain lost.
Megan, you're a tramp. Ryan Fitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? That zit is huge. Zit face.
How you doing? I just want regular, no sugar today.
You got it.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
Did you get that whole thing today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, how you doing?
She's getting big, huh?
Good. Yeah, she is big. Great haircut.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks cute. Come on, let's go. Nice to see you. Thanks a lot.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.